Hey, hey, Cyril and Kate here, and I've got a question for you. Are you leveraging Facebook or Instagram? You're making posts, you're posting maybe 3 times a week, maybe you're posting 6 times a week, but no matter what you share, it seems like nobody is buying. They're engaging with you, they're liking, they're hearting your posts. Maybe even commenting occasionally, like, yeah, girl, you got it. Like, so excited for you. But still, nobody is buying. And it's super frustrating, right? So let me know if that's you. Drop a me in the chat below. Because listen, today I'm going to share with you exactly how to create a post that sells without feeling awkward. So this is gonna be about creating posts that are going to help bring in customers, maybe new enrollments, and we're gonna still be authentic and true to yourself. Okay. If that's something you're excited about, go ahead and drop a whoop whoop. By the way, if you didn't catch who I am or my name is Sarah Lynn Kate. I'm one of the founders here at the Next Level Network Marketing Hacks. Um, myself and my one of my bestest friends, Cassie Billingsley, we put together this group where we can go ahead and create a community and provide lots of trainings to really help you boost your business and take your network marketing gig to the next level. So part of that is also, you know, providing you with value, providing you with tips. So that way you can go ahead and really elevate your game personally outside of this community. But just recently, Cassie and I are like, hey, why don't we take this inside of the community? So last week I went ahead and decided to try something new. And some of you took me up by that offer. And it's where I asked you to practice what we preach, meaning take what you've learned so far and promote one of your products. You could have provided a link, share a picture, but it had to be with your story. And some of you did a phenomenal job with it, and I'm so grateful that you did it. Maybe you got a sale, maybe you didn't, but that's not the point. The whole point was to practice what we preach. And stay tuned because we're going to make an announcement at the end of this particular training. Um, so if you got value out of that, you enjoyed doing that by promoting a little bit about yourself and taking what you've learned and implementing it inside of a safe space, then you're going to be excited for this announcement. Now, for today's training, I'm going to go ahead and share a bit more in detail on how you can go ahead and promote more like that. So, for those of you who practiced it, take what you learn specifically from today and apply it now. Like, go back to what you created and ask yourself, okay, could I have maybe tweaked this and make it a little bit stronger? Or maybe could I have reeled this story in a little bit and make it a little bit shorter, but make sure that there's still some impact there? So let's share a little bit about what that looks like, okay? To be able to help so that way you can apply it in the future, but then also take it and like reflect upon what it is that you had already created in the past. So, very first and foremost, when you want to create a post that sells, you want to make sure that you have a hook. So I'm not saying like a hook where you're gonna go catch a fish, though honestly, that's kind of like what it is that when you create a post, you're putting it in front of a pond or you're throwing, your bait with a hook out into a pond, hoping that somebody bites. Okay. Your hook needs to be attractive. It needs to be catchy enough. Not to mention for those of you in health and wellness, it also needs to be FTC compliant. So be cautious about what it is that you share inside this hook. But your hook is intended to capture your audience's attention within the very first line of what you type up. I don't know about you if you know this, but our average attention span nowadays is about 3 seconds. 3 seconds. It's like a goldfish. It's ridiculous. And it's kind of sad. But that's something that us as marketers, we need to keep in mind with our attention grabbers, our hooks, and making sure that it's something that's going to draw them in and want them to continue to read on further. So that very first line is crucial. If it's not strong enough, if it's just like, oh, hey, y'all, I'm so excited that you're here. I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. Honestly, majority of the time, they're not going to pay attention. Um, and the reason is because you're talking about yourself. whereas you want to talk to meet their needs. So, here's a few suggestions when it comes to creating a hook that's going to really draw them in and encourage them to continue to read. One, make it relatable. So think about your audience, those that you have brought into your community, and the people that are very similar to yourself. So maybe you have a product that's helped you with your sleep. Share on how difficult it was from when you struggled with sleep. Or maybe you say, "Hey, I don't know about you, but I've always struggled with or I've been struggling with sleep for the last 3 years." All right, we're not talking about insomnia. We're not talking about anxiety. We're not talking about depression just yet. Whatever it is that prevents you from prevented you from sleeping, but we're just sharing this is my struggle. And you're making it relatable by saying, "Hey, I don't know about you." And that's for those who have struggled with sleep, they're gonna be like, "Dude, you're not alone. Like, I'm right there with you," and now you've made a connection with them. But hooks are extremely important because there's a sea of marketers. Like, there are 10,000 companies out there, guys, and filled with thousands of network marketers within, all demanding the same exact attention that you're trying to capture and or cultivate of your own. So, when it comes to making a post that you want to sell, spend some time here with your hook. A little hack that can help you create a catchy hook to draw in attention is go on Pinterest and type in different hooks, hooks for health and wellness, hooks for, social media, hooks to, hooks or attention grabbers for skincare, whatever it is that your particular line or industry that you're in, and take a look to see if there's one that stands out for you. There's so many different out there. There's so many different ones out there. Or you could even put in like hook templates and you can just use that template and then plug in your own words. So there's so many different things. You could also even look up, magazine covers, guys. Magazine covers are like gold mines because that people get paid the big bucks to write those headlines on like the cover of like I don't even read magazines, but any sort of like Cosmo, Allure, any of those kind of magazine covers, people get paid the big bucks to write those out. So they have to make sure that they're going to be catchy enough to stop someone's attention while they're walking on past, pick it up, and decide to start flipping through the magazine cover. So you can take those hooks and change it a little bit to meet your needs. We don't want to copy, but you can change it to make it more of your own. Okay, so drop hook if that makes sense. By the way, I see Ian, I see that you're on there. Thank you so much for putting your name on there. You gotta love StreamYard. I don't know what it is, girlfriend, but it doesn't like me either, as you know. So we're in this together. But it likes Cassie. It might be because this is technically Cassie's account. So, but anyways, that's one important thing with your hook, guys, is that making sure that it is catchy and it's tailored to your audience. It's going to attract them to continue to read on with your content. If anything, half of your time of you creating this post should be spent on your hook. That's how important it is. And there's two other parts that I need to talk to you about when it comes to creating a piece of content that sells, okay? So the second piece of content that sells that you're not going to be spending as much time on, but a good portion of time on is your story. Now, here's the thing, when have you ever been told, "Oh, you just need to share your story?" Do you ever look back or look, when you ask yourself, is like, "Okay, but I don't have a story." It's okay. Raise your hand, drop the emoji like, "Yep, that's me." I've never had like when somebody's like, "Oh, you just need to share value. You just need to share your story." And you're like, "I don't have a story." I'm here to say, yes, you do. But that statement of you just need to share your story is very broad and very vague. Okay. I'm here to tell you is that you just need to share a short, small anecdote, a micro story, a memory, share a little bit about what it was that you were struggling with specifically. And how did that struggle impact you personally and on the negative side? So, if you dealt with acne, okay, that's a struggle, and how did it impact you negatively in a specific moment? Maybe you were getting ready for prom, or maybe you saw your child who struggles with acne getting ready for prom, and they were struggling because of how it made him feel, how painful it was. And so that's that personal impact that makes it more of a connective story versus just being like, I had acne and this is what I used. So think of those little moments in time where you're like, oh yeah, that was a painful moment. And that struggle just only made it worse. Okay. So that's one part of your story. But then you need to transfer over to the victory side. So you need to share what it was that you did to help bring you to solving that struggle. And this is where you share, like, you found a product, you found a solution, you found, some, a supplement, you found a different skincare, and then share on how it impacted you personally for the good. Okay. But you're staying on this singular path. This is my struggle. This is how it impacted me personally in this specific moment. This is my solution. And now this is how I'm feeling. Okay. This is where a lot of people tend to get hung up when it comes to creating posts. And this is something that I've gotten hung up on in the past as well, is that when we take them on our journey and we share our story, we're like, wow, that's quite a journey. There's a lot of twists, there's a lot of turns, there's a lot of different ailments that we've struggled with. There's a lot of different memories on how painful it was. But the thing is that when you go into all those different twists and turns, it becomes super overwhelming for your audience to follow. This is where you've got to put yourself in your audience's shoes. When they are scrolling on Facebook, they are scrolling on Facebook to take a mental break from whatever it is that they're dealing with in life. Okay. And if our content is overwhelming for them to read, it's so simple for them to just scroll on past. So we want to make it easy. We want to make it easy for them to follow, but also make sure that it's impactful. Okay. So every one of you has small little anecdotes. Every one of you has little personal stories. Every one of you can share, how it was that it made you feel in that moment, that particular moment in time. But don't go down the list where you're like, when I had acne, I struggled at prom, I struggled with graduation, I struggled with, parties in the summer, I struggled with, going out on the boat. Like, it's a lot of little personal anecdotes that you can dive into. And you're all of a sudden, your post that should be yay big, all of a sudden turns into a novel. We don't want that. Instead, you could take each of these four little struggles or these moments in time and you can turn that into a post and save it for later. So you take that novel and break it down into four different posts. Does that make sense? Drop a number two if it does. And this is really important, guys, is that making sure that it stays on point, sharing one particular problem, one particular ailment, and how did it personally impact you. It's key to creating an impactful post that will get people to purchase from you. Okay. That was tip number 2. Now, tip number 3 is that you need to have a clear and concise call to action, and only one of them. Back to our particular, our example. What is our audience doing on social media? They are scrolling to get a mental break from what it is that's going around on them. They might be overwhelmed, they just might need to unwind. So we want to make it as simple as possible and make it easy as possible. So if you shared about your product and how it helped with your acne, then you just want to say, if you struggle with acne yourself and you'd like to learn a little bit about the product that I'm using, go ahead, drop a me in the chat or in the comments below. That's it. Or drop your favorite emoji. Or shoot me a message. Shoot me a message might not be as good, just letting you know, because it's extra work on their part. But keep keep the message clear. Keep the direction clear and only use one call to action. That's it. All right. This is where oftentimes we either forget to put a call to action. We're like, that's my story. Yay. Or we have too many and it's too complex. Send me a message or drop, let me know that if you want it below and it's a little too vague. Tell them specifically what to do. Take the guesswork out, take the extra steps out, and just keep it super simple for them to take that action. All right? It's literally me saying drop a number 3 if that is clear to you about the call to actions. And I want you right now, drop a number 3 if you're clear and having a singular call to action. All right, those are those 3 things. Now, before you hop off, I do have some quick little bonus tips, but just to recap, every post that you share when you're trying to intentionally make a sale with your product, you have to make sure that there is a hook that draws people in. You have to make sure that you have a clear and concise story that is personal and impactful, but not with a bunch of twists and turns. And you want to have a clear and concise call to action to sum it all up. Okay. Super, super important. And those are honestly, those 3 things are the most critical when it comes to your post. Now, there are some bonus tips, as I said, and this is going to help enhance your sales posts. First and foremost, your post needs to be visually appealing, all right, and not overwhelming. So, this is just the written post. I'm not even talking about your pictures. Okay. We're talking about your pictures in just a moment, but your written post needs to be visually appealing and not overwhelming. I'm curious when somebody writes a block of text and it goes on, who here reads it all? Or do you just scroll on by? Let me know in the chat. Do you read a whole block of text or do you begin to read it and then you're like, oh, and you scroll on by? I'm going to be blatantly honest. I scroll on by. My brain, it just goes into immediate overwhelm and I'm like, nope, I don't have time for this. So here's my tip for you. Break that puppy up. Okay? Break it up. White space is nice space. Okay? And I hear you. I'm pretty sure that's you. Depends on who it is. You're right. It does depend. But I have to be honest, even sometimes if it's my parents and it's a whole block of text, I'm like, dude, you got to break that up. It's too much and it's too overwhelming. But if you're trying to build up a relationship with somebody, you're still like on a warm basis. You guys aren't there. You're not hot prospects. You're not a super close relationship where they're going to purchase from you. Then you need to break it up, period. Okay. What I mean by that is you need to create so like multiple paragraphs within your content. Honestly, you can fit only 1 to 3 sentences long per paragraph. And a paragraph could be 2 words. All right. This is your copywriting is different than what we learned in school, guys. We are not creating a 5-page or 5-paragraph paper for our professors. We are copywriting on social media. All those fancy rules are tossed out. Now we need to make it simple where it feels like they're just kind of scrolling through as they're reading. Okay. So your written post should be about 8 to 10 paragraphs long. And in between, put some white space in between to break it up. So basically, what I mean by that is after your sentence or your paragraph, you hit enter to create that white space. It makes it easier for them to read. Whereas a block of text or a post that has 20 to 30 paragraphs long on Facebook or Instagram, it's going to overwhelm them. Now, of course, you could sometimes go over it. That's fine. But you want to make sure that, over the 8 to 10 paragraphs long, I should say. But just be concise with your message. If you take what I just shared with you about your story, where you keep it on a singular path and not going down all these twists and turns and sharing how it impacted you at all these different events and moments in time, you should be able to keep it down. Honestly, you really should. But keep that in mind. We want to make it easier for them to read. Another thing that's going to help with the ease of read is use emojis only to highlight or emphasize an emotion, and do not use an emoji to replace a word. All right. And do not overuse them like confetti on a cake. It's just to point out or to highlight a specific section or emphasize a specific emotion. All right. That's really, really important with emojis. And then your pictures. Your pictures should be clear. They should be well lit. They should be of you. Yes, you can occasionally have with your pet, with your spouse, with a friend, but they should be of you. Don't use pictures that you got off the internet. A lot of times we see that still. Um, but use them of you. Now, not every time you're going to be posting this sort of style of a post. Honestly, we recommend that you only make this kind of post maybe once or twice a week, depending on how often you post. If you post 3 times a week maximum on your Facebook, then you might be posting maybe once a week using a direct sales kind of post just like this. If you're posting 6 to 7 times a week, maybe you post 1 or 2 times a week. Okay, but make it clear and make it easy. All right. But like I said, I'm sorry, don't post it often. We don't want to overwhelm your audience by making it seem like we're always trying to sell to them. There's other factors that comes into play when it comes to building up that know, like, and trust with your audience on social media. Okay. So that's pretty much it for today. I'm about to share my little announcement. I kind of alluded to it earlier. Um, but take this and practice it on your own, but also with our announcement, which is every Friday, we are now going to share Practice What We Preach Promotion Fridays. Okay. So take this training and apply it every single Friday. We're gonna be posting, hey, here's where you could promote yourself and share a story. Share shamelessly, but share your journey as to why you are promoting this particular product. Share, you implement these tips that I shared with you today, where you have that hook, you have that story, you have that call to action, but then also implement these bonus tips. And maybe you'll get a sale. Maybe you won't. But either way, it's just practicing. And then you could take it and then you could apply it at home. Or I'm sorry, on your own personal profiles as well. So repurpose the bad boy. Absolutely. But this is something that we are doing. Our intention here is to really make this more of a community. All right. Not just a training platform, but we want to make sure that this is a community, that we all get something out of it. So stand by. We are going to be implementing other changes. We're really excited about it. But we're going to roll them out slowly as we see how this one goes in itself. Okay. That's it for my friends today. Like, that's it when it comes to the training. Keep an eye out for Practice What We Preach this Friday when it comes to promote yourself. Um, and then stay tuned for Cassie when she trains on Thursday. So that's it, guys. Talk soon. Bye.